Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week number 3 of the Smite World Championship. My name is hi-rez. Joining me today, once again, DM Brandon. Brandon, what's the first game?
Today we're going to be checking in early with our 11th seed and 22 seed. This is going to be Torch versus Placebo Gaming, two teams we normally don't get a chance to highlight, so we should have a pretty even round one. Going into the later rounds, though, you should expect to see the likes of Team Dignitas, current top seed, and I think overall top seed world right now, as they're the only team with 2 wins, Bart.
Undefeated in the weekly tournament play so far is Team Dignitas, and they are coming in at the number 1 seed. And technically number 1 seed overall, as you did mention, but Placebo Gaming, not a team we know much about, as you mentioned. Not much do we know about Torch. Well, we know something about Torch, DM.
We've seen Torch a little bit. They're kind of working their way up through the ranks. Placebo has been seen a few times before, but like I said, we normally don't get a chance to highlight these two guys. So I'm pretty excited to see, I guess, some new talent. I got news today that apparently Pentablink, I think the king of the unsung heroes, or the kings of the unsung heroes, have disbanded. So that kind of like wild card spot is wide open. I think these two teams are a perfect match right now for, I think, who could really start forming into Pentablink's spot.
That's right, yeah. So we have, kind of the top 3 teams in North America right now, Dignitas, COG, and Snipe. And then, kind of right behind them, down to Frag and the Game Changers. From a skill perspective, seem to be doing quite well. And then, it seems to be pretty much wide open. Is it going to be the Critosaurs on cooldown, Full Moon, Torch? Any of these teams we'll be seeing today out of the round of 32. There's some good matchups in there.
So today we have Snipe coming in, I'm pretty sure at 2nd seed. Let me check myself.
No,
here.
COG is the 2nd seed.
COG is 2nd seed. Snipe will be 3rd seed. Either way, they're going to be winding up against each other if they can progress through the bracket. Both of these teams have been very dominant in their, I guess, their higher points in their careers. Cognitive, of course, having one of the longest, if not the longest streak in competitive Smite history. But recently, I have had the ultimate displeasure of facing a lot of the Snipe guys in ranked, and they are really stepping their game up lately.
Yeah, they look. Snipe looks like a team that's definitely got a very strong opportunity to win this week. I feel like Snipe is maybe the team most hungry in North America right now, besides Dignitas, who's been doing really, really, really well. I think Cognitive Gaming's done a good job of kind of getting things back together. As we were talking about in the Face-Off show this week, they're kind of incorporating Jeff Hindla, coming off of a tough loss in LAN after going undefeated, kind of working their way back up to the level they were in terms of confidence in the last season. I expect them to stay, in the top 2, top 3, but I'm looking for Snipe to be the one that really makes the break to knock off Dignitas for the first time.
Well, they're definitely hungry enough for it. But before we get into any of those games, we're going to check in again with 11th seeded Torch going up against 22nd seeded Placebo Gaming in our round of 32.
That's absolutely right, guys. And looking forward to this game here. I got to say, it's always nice to get teams out of the round of 32 that don't get a chance to get broadcast that much, because we get an opportunity to maybe see some different style of picks, or even see the same gods played in a different way. Maybe we'll get to see something fun like a Thor jungle. But judging by how well the Norse gods did last week, I wouldn't expect to see too much Fenrir.
Oh, man. Rip Fenrir.
Yeah.
I can't wait until he comes out, by the way. Into the game.
Ouch. Ouch.
My favorite joke. Because it works on so many levels. No, but if you guys did miss last week, COG attempted to play Fenrir in the jungle, and it didn't really work out to their favor. That was the same game I'm pretty sure we also saw Hades and Cupid played.
Yeah, that's right. But look at this, DM. It looks like we are going to be moving into game here, where it is going to be the round of 32 matchup between Torch and Placebo Gaming, and it looks like we are getting underway with the picks and bans. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we're going to have much surprise after this first ban comes through. Bastet going to be right off the board.
Yeah, I mean, just take her out. There's no reason to allow her. She's still currently more than likely the best character in the game. Odin's going to be answered as well. Very decent jungle, one of the strongest supports. So this was a good pick there. Option's going to go back over to the left side here. I wonder what they're going to go for. There's still some pretty decent picks. Scylla, Zeus, Poseidon, all super strong right now. Still kind of flavoring out that Poseidon. He's been pretty popular in the last month or so.
Yeah, he has been. But I think it's going to be Nemesis. Yeah, Nemesis will be banned out here. Interesting to leave. A lot of top-tier picks are going to be available here, considering that they're leaving the Zeus open, and with a Poseidon ban coming out from Placebo now, it's going to be a tall task, I think, to stop Well, the team here, Placebo, that's getting the second pick with 2 picks, they have some really, really tough choices ahead of them here.
Yeah, Ullr's going to be grabbed, locked in immediately over on the right side. We're going to see Scylla hovered on and locked in immediately. That tiny terror skin is going to be apparent. And we're going to have the option over to Ultron for the next 30 seconds. Aphrodite still super strong on the board, though, with the recent changes to the healing. Sobek can counter her in the duo lane. With Sickening Strike and a Divine Ruin pickup by third item. And, of course, Chang'e has a great matchup. They're going to opt into healing, but away from the Afro as we see a hover and lock into Ra.
Wow. That's a very early Ra pickup, I feel like. It's going to leave Sun Wukong Zeus if Torch wants it, which pretty much gives you a very, very incredibly strong team.
Yeah.
I would be surprised to not see Sun Wukong come off the board here.
All right. So Tyr is going to be hovered on. We saw a hover as well onto Hun Bots, which is going to be switched over to a different monkey as Sun Wukong gets locked in. Tyr going to be picked up as well. More than likely, we're going to see Tyr in the jungle, and then Sun Wukong and Ullr in the duo lane, leaving open likely a solo laner and a mage, though. Tyr can solo, and quite efficiently.
Yeah, that's interesting to me, though. They're going to leave open. Are we not going to see Zeus picked?
He's not gotten so far, and with the second banning phase come in, I imagine they're not going to let him through. Given the fact that Torch needs 2 picks right now, both of them should be magic, it would definitely be in their favor to take Zeus away from them. And there
it is. Yeah, Zeus going to get banned out right away there by Placebo as their first ban. Now it's back over to Torch. What should they be looking to knock out of this pool? Ra, Scylla, Hun Bots, or their jungler, their soul lane, and their mid. So, supports and hunters, probably Apollo banned out here by Torch would be my expectation.
Guan Yu, Geb's still on the board, but Apollo definitely would be the smart pick. They want to shut down that global presence, and it looks like they are going to do that. So our 6th and final ban will be the God of Music. Is that what that is?
Apollo?
Yeah, singing all the time, right?
The God of Music, yeah.
God
of the Sun, God of Music. He's got a lot of things.
I'm not God of anything. He should
You're not. Yeah, he really should. Him and Zeus. Well, Zeus is the God of gods. I mean, he's got the best kid. Whoa, okay. So Placebo going to be taking a look at their hunter, and they're going to take the Lady of the Hunt here, Artemis.
Yeah, Artemis going to be picked up. A character that we've been seeing a lot of people starting to theorycraft that Artemis might be a counter to Ullr, or at least has a decent enough matchup to where Ullr shouldn't be a problem pick. Of course, being able to use that boar against someone without CC immunity. She has movement speed to keep up with Ullr, not to mention she has very decent damage and decent lane clear as well, so we're going to see her locked in. Over on the left side, Habwa going to be hovered on as well as Hades.
Wow.
Hades has incredible clear, but they're actually going to switch to Freya here. This could be Freya mid, or it could be Freya jungle and Tyr solo. They definitely have their options available to them.
I think you're going to see Freya going in the jungle here, and it's going to be Hades in the mid lane, which we'll see how that works out for them. As Placebo taking a look at their final pick, potentially Geb for their dual lane. A Geb Artemis lane looks like it's going to be shaping up, and yes, they're going to go ahead and lock that Geb in. So we have our teams, ladies and gentlemen, Placebo and Torch in the round of 32, ready to go. DM, whose team are you liking better here?
Overall, I think it's going to depend where they send Freya and Tyr. If we get a Tyr into the jungle, it's going to create a better gank opportunity, given that they have a physical jungle and then a mage in either lane, which means you can't really defend against them. If they send Freya into the jungle for Tyr, the solo's still very strong, but a Void Stone in the mid lane is going to prevent them from really getting a lot of gank damage. That could be really strong, especially with Sun Wukong, who everyone knows I think is an incredibly, incredibly strong pick. In my opinion, definitely top 5. But then you go across the way and there's Hun Bots, a character that is arguably as good as Bastet right now. Might need a little bit more testing before we can really make that claim, but he is very strong.
He's incredibly powerful, but very snowball dependent. Can take over games, but has to stay ahead definitely to do it, as he doesn't really have a lot of great tools to disengage. He kind of needs to go all in to find kills. But the danger here has got to be Placebo's team fight. I mean, looking at the graphs there, tremendous amount of team fight and carry potential here out of the Scylla and Hun Bots and Artemis. Yeah. A lot of late game and a lot of kind of early game gank and mid game gank potential. So, I mean, look for Placebo Gaming to be trying to basically control the tempo of this game with that Hun Bots, Geb, Blink Geb, Hun Bots, and Scylla ultimates with Ra to clean up. Versus Torch here, who's really going to be looking for, I think, maybe a more stagnant landing phase, try to get Ullr and the Tyr some farm. They need Freya farmed as well. They need a lot more farm to come online over on Torch, where Placebo can really fight at level 5.
I really want to see an early Divine Ruin here. I've just fallen in love with this item over the past week or so. And if Ra picks it up early, have you ever seen a Hades try to clear the wave when his healing is just reduced? He just constantly puts himself in a bad spot. But Ra doesn't really have healing reduction attached to any of his moves. So he's not going to be able to shut down that healing completely, which means both of these guys are going to depend on that early 1 to 4. If Ra can get ahead, he'll be able to clear the wave very safely, force Hades into a bad spot, and if Hades goes for the dash in, Ra can really punish it. Same thing goes the other way. If Hades gets ahead, he'll be able to clear the wave instantaneously using the Death from Below or Shroud of Darkness directly into the Devour Souls. It's instant wave clear. It heals the front creeps, and if he catches the Ra in the middle of it, it could actually spell death.
But that would leave Freya for the mid lane versus Scylla, which I'm not sure is going to be a great matchup for the Valkyrie Queen.
Good
there.
point.
It's a tough proposition to be an assassin going up against Scylla. It just has so much burst damage, and with that small of an HP pool, it'll be very tough for her to stay in there. So I do expect Hades to go mid, but we'll find out, guys, in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. After the 3-minute spectator countdown, we will be back with game number 1 out of the round of 32. It's Torch versus Placebo for DM Brandon. I'm hi-rez Bart. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in just a few. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's game number 1 in the round of 32. My name is hi-rez Bart. Joining me today, DM Brandon. But it's all about our teams. Let's go ahead and get them introduced. They are the blue team, fighting on the bottom side of your mini-map, the left side of your spectator UI. Ladies and gentlemen, Torch Gaming. It's going to be Pulliam, Awesome to the Max, Inverse, Davis Arc, and Deflux. And it looks like we will have that Freya in the jungle. It'll be the Sun Wukong Ullr duo lane, Tyr in the solo, and Dufal in the middle lane. Going up today against the red team of Placebo on the Chaos side of the map, the top of the minimap, and the right side of your spectator UI. They are the Queen Pinky in the mid lane as Scylla, Nell Apocalypse with Broken Joy in the duo lane as Geb and Artemis. It's going to be a solo lane Ra and a jungle Hunbots.
Overall, not too much craziness going down with the builds. Wukong rushed out and dropped a few wards and has jumped back to the base, and you're going to see him pick up Watcher's Gift, veering away from the start that has been very popular in the high-level meta for the past week or a couple weeks or so. Same thing, Bumba's Masks are both going to be picked up for the junglers. More common on Freya, as she does need that extra 50 damage from Potion of Magical Might, whereas Hunbots can actually opt into Hand 2 and Death Toll for a little bit less risky opening, but it looks like he's going to go the, I guess, the more tried-and-true method with Bumba's Mask and the Potion of Physical Might.
Yeah, the Bumpus Mask going to give him a little bit more gold as he's going to be able to share those camps. It's going to give him the mana regen as well, although, as you mentioned, you really don't really need it on Hunbots. If you have a Death Toll, it gives you enough mana to sufficiently clear, especially with Hog 2 or even a Red Pot start, although that is a bit more risky. Doesn't look like we're going to have any early invade to your DM either. Both teams perfectly happy to take their respective buff camps and head to lane.
Actually, topside might be in trouble here. Geb does get the Hand of the Gods off, but he's sitting on a little over 200 health, and going to lane, that could spell instant death, especially against an Ullr. And once he hits level 2 here, he's going to have the option to jump in and then look for the Axe Toss. This could be a first blood opportunity, but it looks like Geb is going to stay safe and stay back as far as possible.
Yeah, he took a lot of damage coming in the lane there, though. And mid lane here, though, it is going to be that Hades versus Scylla matchup. This one, I mean, how does this go well for Hades? It just seems like, at best, he holds this lane.
Well, in the beginning, he's going to be able to clear much faster. Check out the damage to the creeps there. They're almost all dead at this point, and you know that Crush isn't going to do anywhere near that amount of damage. So it's going to be up to Defoe to do as much damage and as much push as he can to try to just get Scylla out of this lane. It's also going to rely on the Freya rotations. They actually have really good gank potential going into level 5 on Scylla. If they catch the Sentinel down, or even chase the Sentinel with something like Valkyrie's Discretion, it could spell a kill.
Well, one thing that is going well for them here is that the Hades Silence coming out after. Oh, he's going to get a lot of damage there.
Jesus.
As he goes in with the Death from Below. But, you know, it's if he could silence her out, similar to kind of the Thor's Hammer, like she throws out Sentinel and he silences her somehow before she's able to jump to it, that will basically spell a kill every time he's able to execute that. So, I guess don't be surprised to see a maxed Silence after Devour Souls here for Defoe.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We want to see as much damage come out as possible. So with Death from Below lacking in that damage, it's going to hurt him. But the Shroud of Darkness Silence is going to just scale up so hard. Not to mention, if he fears her in the wrong direction, especially during a gank, it could be disastrous.
Yeah, look at Geb over here. He's going to be forced to recall out of this lane where Broken Joy is still trying to find farm. However, Artemis is sitting at level 4, a little bit of the solo experience. Not all hope is lost, I guess, here. But now Torch doing a decent job of zoning her out, but I don't think she's losing any experience from this. But they are definitely not farming this wave, as you notice. They're just going to allow their creeps to die to as many of the minions as possible. Inverse trying to pick up the last hits where he can. Mid lane, our junglers are going to find each other just off to the right side.
Looks like Humbots is going to be pushed out as he rotates into the mid lane, possibly going towards the small camp on the top left. Actually, he's going to opt again towards the right side. No, he will abandon and go to the left side. Freya in the mid lane right now, still level 4 as she rotates over. They're going to make a play for the red buff.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be very, very tough to have this contested. Freya in the early game with that purple bot. So much damage. Does he have the fear coming out? He does indeed, but it's going to be a leap from Hunbots. A little bit of a waste of mana there by Dufault, but not so bad. They should have probably just gone right for the red buff, because now Geb has made his way back to the lane, and this could get dangerous with the Solar Rotation Sentinel already out. She's happy to jump over if she needs to. Here comes the aggression from Placebo. Damage coming in. It's on the ground. It is going to be going to the blue team now as that red buff going to try to turn onto Lakarn. That Hades ultimate coming out. Pillar of Agony doing a lot of damage.
Wow.
Oh, the Valkyrie's Discretion as well. They get the bandage up on the Geb. This could be the
Look at the body blocks.
Body blocks are real. Now Apocalypse maybe just too tanky. Gonna need the fear to bring him back out of tower range. Not sure they can dive at this level with the Geb shield as well. Devour Souls not gonna find that kill, and Dufault gonna take a lot of damage for his trouble, but an early double kill for Torch.
They really needed that Artemis rotation, but taking a look at her right now, she's sitting at about 400 health, under 50%. She doesn't really have a lot of push potential at this point, and with the mana that she's used and the rotations coming back over, she can't even have an opportunity to push these archers safely. We're going to jump back into that first blood, though, Bart. We got to check that out again.
Yeah, so take a look here as, you know, Awesome to the Max is sitting a red buff on the ground. They start going in onto Lacane, and then this is just a free Jingo Bang kill over the top. Valkyrie's Discretion as well. There's just so much unavoidable damage on this team between the Cudgel Smash from the Sun Wukong that we'll be calling Jingo Bang and the Valkyrie's Discretion. It's just a lot of large AoEs that you really can't do anything about, and when you're running such low HP pool gods like the Hunbots and the Scylla, it's just going to be tough to avoid that damage coming out.
Hades finally goes back to the base now. He's going to pick up, it looks like he has level 2 Talon Trinket and a level of Boots right now, so that's going to be an extra 60 damage on top of 8% lifesteal. Given the fact that he was already healing himself for 40 to 50% with that Devour Souls rush, that extra 8% lifesteal on top of the 60 damage is going to spell kind of disastrous right now for Scylla. She's level 6. She's very far behind at this point, given the fact that Hades is pushing towards level 8. She's got to be worried.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to stop the Hades Bancroft Talon rush. If he gets it out, it pretty much means that he wins from about maybe minute 7 to minute 10 in the lane. It's a very, very safe laning phase once he gets that timing. Taking a look at the Scylla, who's going to be moving into what appears to be a Polynomicon rush with the rank 2 with a tiny trinket, the Enchanted Trinket here. Interesting to go that, to continue into that item before finding any boots, but hold that thought is in the mid lane. Dufault maybe in some trouble as the Karn's here. He has nice positioning, but the crit only comes out for 66 damage, and that's just not going to be enough for them to try to go in.
He's taking almost that much damage. He's taking almost that much damage just from the auto attacks. Geb's going to be in the mid lane as well. There's a 4-man rotation with no mid, or rather 3-man rotation with no mid camps here. Not sure what they're looking for. Really, they're trying to do some damage to the mid laner, but there's no damage to be done.
Yeah, it's sitting at level 8 already. The Hunbot's rotating at level 4. He just can't do any damage to Dufault. There's way too much base protection scaling going on Hades right now as a Guardian class god. That Hunbots at level 4 is doing basically nothing to him. You saw a crit for 66 damage, which means that Hunbots is hitting him for 33 with a normal basic. So this is not looking very good for Placebo. And now they put themselves in awkward position. Geb at half health. He does have his ultimate available, but now here comes a level 7 Freya. This Hunbots just falls more and more behind. They're going to make a play for the orange buff, it looks like here. Will they find Lakarn in time? It's going to take him a while to clear this orange. Only level 5. He's going to go down. He's going to be forced to use the ultimate if he wants to have an opportunity to live. There, down goes the buff. Jumping out is Lakarn. Follow up from Dufault, and this Hades is looking to get on a roll. And maybe even more importantly, DM, that orange buff goes the way of Torch.
Yeah, and Awesome to the Max. He's going to miss the banish there. As you see the Sentinel come out, he was looking at Chase. I'm just so impressed. That death from below got the kill, and at most right now, that's level 2. It's likely that it's level 1, meaning the damage that he's been able to obtain at this point has been big. And what was kind of like the final hope for this early game for Placebo was that Artemis going even with Inverse right here, but Torch's Inverse was able to find a kill with the help of Sun Wukong, and now even the Artemis has picked up. Only Ra stands kind of alone here. Geb, of course, hasn't died, but Ra's the only one with actual farm on the team. 4,100 right now keeps him in line. In fact, 300 ahead of tier, but still not enough to really allow him to rotate out and look for kills.
Oh, 1,200 gold. 1,500 gold now as the Gold Fury goes down in favor of Torch on Dufault in hand, which means Bancroft's talent is done, plus rank 2 boots. Hades' timing right now around that 7-minute mark is going to be insane. And as I mentioned earlier, that about 7 to 10 minute mark when he has Bancroft's talent done, It's going to be very, very hard for Scylla to stay in this lane. So he's going to be able to repeatedly dive her and heal it all back up with that Talon. Plus, looking at the tower sitting under 30% HP now in the mid lane, Dufault has really had his way with the Queen Pinky.
Dufault right now is sitting on almost actually over 1,800 gold, which means we're likely to see Bancroft's Talon finished up here. Yep, there it comes. Already picked up. What will he spend the rest of the money on? Looks like magic shoes as well, so that's going to be overall another 60 damage. Straight up increase. Another 4% lifesteal on top of the Bancroft's Talon's passive. This is a very, very big time for Hades, and he should be looking to rotate, gank, and get as many kills as possible before that Hades damage starts to become unconfirmable.
And the Hunbots is falling more and more behind here for Lacarne. But take a look at the soul lane here. We'll get back to Lacarne as Ultron maybe the next one to take a spill. Vanish misses. Over the top comes the tier, though, and that's going to put him in a decent position for a Fearless Chain, and that's going to be enough to pick up that kill as well. So everyone around the map has now died for Placebo. Torch up 5 kills to 0. It's a single kill on each. I'm sorry, no, Nella's not gone down. Lacarne's gone down twice, and you can really tell that Hunbot's sitting at only level 5. He's having such a hard time. You look at him, he's going to try to go to the lane against a level 11 tier, but it's just not going to work out for him. He really needs to just find a way to get an assist with someone else finding a kill to get some levels. Hold that thought, the DM is in the mid lane. There's a Pillar of Agony coming out, and Apocalypse will take his first spill, and now everyone on Placebo has taken a dive.
And now Queen Pinky without Crush has no opportunity to really push this wave out. And with that, it looks like Awesome to the Max knows that he'll be stuck there. Gonna again switch over towards the left side and steal away for the second time the red buff. This is not a good look right now, but Placebo just has no control over the map as they lose not only their Hunbots once again, but their middle tower, their red buff, and now the sights are turned to Artemis.
Oh yeah, she's getting dove underneath the tower. Freya looking for that kill. Doesn't matter because Inverse is going to find it with a very nicely placed skill shot there. And that's going to be enough.
That was a max range, very slow axe toss that he just perfectly led and guided. And she walked almost right into it. She couldn't have known where it was coming from. She couldn't have known the angle at which he threw it. But he guessed correctly, and he earns himself another kill. They're up 8-0 going into 10 minutes.
Yeah, and there's an orange buff and 2 red buffs stolen away from Placebo. And that is a very big deal in the first 10 minutes of the game, especially those orange buffs going away. The red buff, it hurts Scylla, but Scylla already falling behind Dufault. The big deal here is that orange buff being taken away from Hunbots, who really doesn't do well with the red buff until he's maybe level 12 with some items. He needs the Jotun's Wrath before red buff really makes a difference, just because as a physical caster, without that CDR and extra mana, he just doesn't really get much out of the additional scaling. But the extra speed for his in-hand attacks helps him out so much, and it's going to be very hard for Lacarne to get back into this game. And considering that he hasn't even thrown an ultimate yet, it's going to be a long time before he gets back into the game.
And further bad news for Placebo. In-hand gold right now, the highest they have is 700 on Queen. Otherwise, and as we're going to probably see Geb go down once again here, is getting very low. We see almost 3,000 gold just spent there on Inverse. Defoe's already sitting over 1,200 again. The Sun Wukong sitting at close to 2K, and you can see Freya just left the base, who is sitting over 2,000 as well. Boots are done on top of the Fatalis. We see a Draining Blade and level 2 boots coming out from Uller, and now it looks like Tyr has opted into Mace as well. Likely going to be finished into Jotun's Wrath here as he gets turned on. The first ult, like you were talking about, comes out there from Hunbots, but he fears no evil as he walks and turns right back around. Freya rotates in, doesn't even go for the banish. Lawbringer's going to hit, and that's going to be another kill, guaranteed. 1 kill for each of them right there, going to bring them up 11-0.
Yeah, looking at the damage that ultimate did, it looks like Davis is going to be leveling up his ultimate here. A lot of tier players won't level up the ultimate. They'll go for the Fearless Chain and Cleave combo maxed first, as the ultimate generally used for disengaging. But here, with this kind of level advantage and overall the 12,500 experience advantage for the team, it makes some sense to go for that Lawbringer burst damage type, because, I mean, coming in on top of the Hades ultimate, or even an Uller stun setup, it's going to put out a very nice amount of damage into that Fearless Chain. So, Davis Arc here, going for the more burst style of tier.
Placebo's kind of having a hard time with Torch, who has just been completely controlling every aspect of the game. You can see the wards are in their favor. They've taken most of the objectives fought for so far, including jungle buffs. This also includes the Gold Fury and middle and now right tower as they push over into team fights. We can also see them having a lot of trouble there as well. Oh, cool. Just barely getting out of there with rollout. It looks like Pulliam's not ready to let this one go. Could he get the double here as we see Valkyrie's Discretion started? She's going to find 2 so far, and now they're going to look to try to turn onto Scylla as well. She's silenced. Devour Souls does about 45% before she's able to escape, and now this tier 2 is completely vulnerable.
Whoa, and look at this. She's actually gone away from all this hold. I thought as Freya's going in with the Haste of Fatalis on a Broken Joy. Broken Joy's going to have to dodge a lot of attacks. Freya, as long as he stays in melee range, needs to try to find some room here to break Joy, because if Freya finds these auto attacks, yeah, that means that she's going to keep pace with the Haste of Fatalis, and down will take a spill, will the Artemis there. But Queen Pinky here, take a look at this. Electing out of that early...
Fearless?
Oh, yeah, Blink Fearless, and you go down. But Pythagram's piece here on Queen Pinky, if I can spit it out, not going for the Polynomicon.
Strange. That was not... I was thinking maybe she'll go into the Divine Ruin to try to stop Hades healing. Maybe. I almost forgot that even built into Pyth. This is an item, I think this is the least built item that I've seen in competitive play, but it does give you a lot of damage. It gives you 30 magical power, plus 10 magical power, or rather 20 for an aura, and not only for yourself, but for everyone on your team that's within 70 units, of course, on top of some extra lifesteal, 25% total to be exact, plus 10% for your teammates. So that could be very, very damaging. The issue here is that if you look at the team, that's only really going to help Geb and Ra, two people that she hasn't really seen too much throughout the course of the game, and given the fact that they haven't really gotten into a team fight phase, it's going to be hard for her to really use that item to its maximum efficiency.
Yeah, and I think that at the end of the day here, what's going on for Placebo is you just really can't let teams draft Kong and Freya.
Yeah.
It's so much damage that comes out, or rather, the potential damage that comes out when the player is invulnerable is just insane between those two. The fact that Sun Wukong can heal himself up while invisible and floating out of combat and then come down with, some decent burst damage, especially when coupled with Jingo Bang and a Master's Will, putting out about 500-600 damage in the early stages of the game. Hold that thought as we go. Pillar Agony just off the left side of mid lane here. It's going to be a very dead Geb. No, it's a nicely placed get off my lawn there by Old Man Hunbots. Tried to disengage now as Dufault. He's going to go down to the Scylla ult. Scylla?
Okay.
Scylla.
Oh,
ooh.
no.
Wow, that one was in a rock. Can't hit anyone there, but Inverse going to take some nice damage from the Bouncing Monkey. Pulliam now up in the air, and Sun Wukong with his abilities and a Creeping Curse, maybe finding some kills here of his own. Disengaging well as Broken Joy, but Pulliam happy to dive this tower, and the Magic Cudgel, when you have that many levels advantage, is an extremely potent nuke. DM mid lane here, Freya's going to try to find the kill on the Ultron. She needs to hit those auto attacks, but nicely dodged by the sped up Ra. Davis Ark's on the backside, though, and this could be bad news bears. He's going to find the Fearless Shade on the Ultron. You're going to go deep for Metal Apocalypse. And there's a triple kill for Davis Ark, plus the deicide for the Boys of Torch. Placebo having a very hard time handling this control and Bone here.
There we go. The backs have been, I guess, de-initiated here as they move towards the Tier 2. Again, very vulnerable as Awesome tries to proxy some of that wave. They're doing a lot of damage to this tower, but we do have some respawns. Sentinel has already been used, and another 1,500 gold will line the wallets here of the guys on Torch. 20-1 right now. We're going to see them lead by 12,600 gold at the 15-minute mark. Domination right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the experience at 22K, that's about as big as you're ever going to see. 20-1 is quite a rout. Who actually took that spill? Dufault on the Hades, that's right, in that last team fight. So they did pick up an important target, and unfortunately it doesn't look like Lacarn was really even in range to get much of that experience, or it was split too heavily. I mean, still sitting at level 9, Nell at level 8, but that's really the issue here. They shut this Hunbots down really, really well, did Torch, so well played to them. Stealing those early buffs, you can just see that he has such a hard time, especially going for the Ninja Tabi here. I don't know if I like that pickup from behind. That extra pen would have really helped him out quite a bit.
Hunbots really should have ulted right there. They had an opportunity to take down that Sun Wukong, who was not only low health, but massively out of position, and it looks like he kind of panicked. He saw an opportunity, but he thought to himself, this could result in my death. He just kind of bailed out, but this has allowed Tyr to get in there, blinks past. Ra's in a bad spot here. He's going to be thrown right into the Fire Giant. It looks like Will get started accidentally by the Pillar of Agony, and they're going to take this opportunity. Actually, not to reset it. They're going to keep this one going. Pulliam's still around, but they're being too passive about this. They either need to fight it, or they need to let this go, because they're too scattered at this point, and they're taking a lot of damage for it.
Yeah, Dufault takes half his HP pool just for funsies there to fight the Fire Giant. Awesome to the max, backpedaling on Freya with that Fatalis, throwing out auto attacks with the Pulse and Inspire there. So now look at Davis Ark. They can't really even try to engage into the tier. He just stands there right off the jungle, and that's pretty much that. There comes the Sentinel out. He misses the Fearless Chain. That's right. Level 18 can only be CC'd for a maximum of 1 second, and has a tremendous amount of damage to boot. So this is why you really don't want tiers getting ahead of you. Because now all of a sudden he can just zone your whole team, because you can't lock him down long enough to kill him, and if you try to pile in on him, he's definitely going to chain, 1 or 2 of you, which will be a guaranteed kill with a Freya lurking as well.
Mid lane, we just saw beams, we saw crushes, we saw shockwaves, all slam into Hades. He lands one Devour Souls on a creep wave, he's back to full health. Awesome to the max, almost goes down there, but is able to keep himself up. Raw Snipe not going to hit anything. Searing Pain will be on cooldown. As you see, Inverse and Pulliam actually going to go for the dive here. We're going to see the Sun Wukong decoy come out. Wukong jumps in, we see a Gem Shield go onto Raw, but the tier 2 has been taken down there as Pulliam tries to maintain the pressure. Nell just trying to get out of this one's going to go down to Defoe. Big Jingu Bang gonna slam down onto Rod. That'll get finished up by Inverse. Artemis as Boar is down as Scylla retreats back. This is gonna be free Fire Giant.
Yeah, there's really not much they can do about this. And the auto attacks from Dufo are doing a lot of damage right now. And that's how you know you're really far behind when the Hades auto attacks are crushing you. Arguably the worst auto attacking god in the entire game. And he's hitting them for, about 130 right now onto these players. So it's going to be very, very tough for them to stop this, and especially with his ability to just burst so hard in the Pillar of Agony if they try to go in on him. But once again, DM, the real danger here is going to be the Freya and Tyr combination. That's a guaranteed kill on whoever gets hit by the Fearless Chain.
All 4 people, besides the support right now, are Torch, are level 18 at 18 minutes, including this Fire Giant buff. They've taken every Gold Fury to date. They have every tower except for one. That's going to put them up 16,000 gold, 2,000 behind the minute mark at this point, which is a huge advantage. Even if they drop this Gold Fury here, they're not really going to lose too much. At this point, the Gold Fury is just to keep them from gaining gold. They don't care about the gold gain as much as keeping them from getting items finished. You can see Ultron still doesn't have his 3rd item finished. Enchanted Trinket with only 1,000 gold in hand, meaning he's still 200 gold out, actually, as we get to 1,100 before that Polynomicon will be done. Broken Joy, still no boots. Queen Pinky right now, just level 1 into Magic Focus, doesn't even have the defense from Wardstone. They don't have fight potential, but the fight's been brought to them anyway. I'm a Monster's going to be used. Valkyrie's Discretion's going to be able to clean that one up, guaranteed, as we see a dive into the tower. Pulliam is no fear, continuing his push forward as we see Tyr blink into the boar. Fearless is gonna smack into Geb. 1 hit left and the Jingu Bang's gonna do it onto Hunbots. And poor Artemis is gonna be chased out as this continues to go down under the tier 2.
Yeah, vanished out on that rollout was the Geb by Freya, so that is a no for 3 trade there at the end of the day. 5 members of Torch still standing, and with the Fire Giant buff, they're going to heal this all right back up, and they're going to go look to aggress and push into the base here, DM.
Even with Searing Pain online right now, they have nothing to fear. The heal's going to go down. Defoe jumping in. Pillar of Agony's going to stick it to him, and 1 shot from Inverse will finish it up. Same thing in the background. The immortal Freya has been just completely dominant. She's 11-0-11.
Whew. That's a lot of kills, and now the Polynomicon online after going back for the Demonic Grip after Fatalis. Usually only see one of those items come out. So far ahead, he's going to pick up both, plus a Poly. Oh, Davis. He's got himself a nice positioning there. Down goes the Scylla, who was really their best bet for holding this base. Hunbots is just food at this point. Down goes the Karn. Double kill for Awesome to the max, now sitting at, level 13-0-11. 32-1. Torch takes down Placebo. A very dominant performance by them, but hats off to Placebo for sticking in this one.
Yeah, I mean, when you're down by that much, it's a good idea, especially in tournament, to try to stick it out as long as you can. Generally, when you see teams like Dignitas or Cognitive or Snipe, and they go up against a newer team, and you see the newer team do well in the first 10 minutes, you think to yourself, oh my god, this could actually be an upset. You get to like the 15 to 20 minute mark, and suddenly it's back in their favor. Generally, that's going to be because most teams don't have a chance to practice in the end game. They don't have a team fight phase, because when you're just practicing in casual games, or if you go into a pre-made, generally it's going to be a stomp in either direction. In this case, Placebo took this opportunity just to try to stick it out to the end, to try to get some more experience in that team fight phase. Unfortunately for them, Torch was a little bit more experienced in the phase itself throughout, I think maybe in all phases, and were able to control the game right from the get-go.
Yeah, and it really started with Dufo in the mid lane there. They found those early steals of the camps just off the mid lane. Nice rotations from him. Quite a bit of damage coming out between the Freya and the Hades as well. Looks like we do have a replay here for the Deicide that just went out, and we're going to pop into it now. Taking a look here. As this one unfolds, there's the Pillar of Agony just off of the mid lane. The roster comes through and basically does no damage. Guys, this is about 13.5 minutes into the game. This is where Dufo does take the spill. So here he goes down to the Scylla ultimate, but this second one misses by the Queen Pinky, and this allows the Uller to escape, and they overcommit trying to find him. Does the Hunbot blinking in, and now in comes the Freya to just clean this one up. The Haste of Fatalis in the backlines here, which you don't see, is Sun Wukong zoning out the Artemis, going under tower, finding that kill. And then by the time the tier rotates in and the Freya is doing all the damage, she can stick to her target so well with haste and fatalis that it's basically free kills at this point because they don't have much to peel her. Tier finds the Wukong in the back there, and then they just continue in under the tier 2 in the mid. A nice fearless chain plus a lot of damage coming out of this gap here. A pretty well executed and spread out deicide there. Really having to go around the map was Torch to find all those.
And that's going to allow Torch to move on to the second round. That's going to be our round of 16. They're going to go on, it looks like, to face off against... Nope, there's no winner yet for Victoria's Secret and Mystic Gaming. We'll find out about them in a little bit later. Of course, Cognitive did have a bye today. They're waiting on the winners of Full Moon and Team Dauntless. A Mighty Storm has actually fallen to Insania Gaming.
Wow.
That's a pretty big upset there, Bart.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at Insania Gaming here. Let's actually, real quick, before we do pop off, guys, and talk to you in... Oh, wow, it looks like it was actually a forfeit by Mighty Storm.
Oh, I see. They're going to wind up against either 5 Angry Men, the 7th seed, or 26 seed looking for the upset Titan Esports.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out in just a couple of minutes, guys. We're going to wait for the round of 16 games to be available, and we'll be right back for DNM hi-rez Bart, and we'll bring you some action from the Smite World Championship round of 16 in North America. Don't go anywhere. It's week number 3, and we'll see you in just a few.